This is an ant hill. In fact, it's an ant city, and a good-sized one. You see, ants are what we call social insects. They live in communities. They live all over the world, above, on, and under the ground, and some of them, like this species, live in trees. But you can find them from the Arctic waste to the tropical jungles, and from the seashore to the timberline city that we're looking at is a good-sized one. It compares to, well, say, Minneapolis or Cincinnati or New Orleans. I mean, a city of 500,000 busy inhabitants. And as in most American cities, they're largely composed of workers. This is the interior of our ant city. It has main avenues and side streets and stores of different kinds. And the workers are busy storing food, taking care of the young, maintaining the exits, the city gates, doing all sorts of work. And they are all assigned to special tasks. Now, this is a queen. There are a few queens in each ant community. All they do is lay eggs. You'll notice their peculiar shape. The rear section is like a large, shining inkberry. And at certain seasons of the year, there are winged males that appear. Now, the queen does nothing but lay eggs, those small, gelatinous-looking things that you see. And inside those, there develops the grub. There's a magnified set of eggs showing the grubs developing inside. These are called larvae, L-A-R-V-A. The worker ants, which are sterile females, by the way, take care of the eggs, carry them to the incubator room, so to speak, and see that they're not spoiled. Take care of them in cold weather and warm weather. And here we see some of the larvae that have just hatched out of the egg. And there the workers appear to take care of the newborn larva right away. They clean it and carry it off to the, well, you might call it the playroom. This larva, very shortly, will spin a cocoon for itself and go to sleep inside there while it changes into the shape and form of the adult ant. Now, here are some of those cocoons, and incidentally, these cocoons are what are sold as ant eggs in pet shops, as food for fish or birds or whatever. But they are not the eggs. We see these are the larvae inside the cocoon that they have spun for themselves. Now, these workers move them about according to the weather. When it's nice and sunny, they take these cocoons and carry them up where they can get some warmth and a touch of sunlight. When it's time for the young ant to emerge from that cocoon, the young ant works from the inside, scratching and chewing and struggling, and the workers, seeing this activity, come and help it from the outside. Well, that's the young ant finally emerging from the casing that it spun for itself, the cocoon. It kicks the empty casing away, and that's where another function of the working tribe comes in. They are street cleaners inside the city. They carry off all the debris, including the empty cocoon cases. As I said, at certain seasons, there are winged forms in the ant colony. The queen develops wings, and also the males appear at this season of the year only, and they are winged. Where you see one winged male appear, you know that the season is on, and there will be a lot of them shortly. Now, here are the males milling around looking for the queen to show up. And there is the queen, the large one in the middle. It's almost twice as large as the males. Well, the males start displaying and going into their song and dance to see if they can win the hand of the female, who leaves the nest and goes to some elevated position outside. There the males fight for her favor, and finally one groom is chosen, and they go off on their wedding trip. Well, finally she gnaws off her own wings and comes back to Earth and settles down to start a new community. Now, the most important thing about the worker ants who do all the work in the community is their antennae. Well, we call them their feelers. They do everything. They smell with them, feel with them, hear with them, and talk with them. Now, there's a couple exchanging some very good gossip, I suspect, telling tales out of school. But these workers then undertake all the trouble of building a new community, and they repair the roads, for instance, inside, and they clean the streets, among other things. You know, in a community of that size, there are some deaths, and there's a burying squad. Now, here's a burying squad in operation, carrying off a deceased relative. And there are always repairs to be made to the ant city itself, a good deal of construction work, and notice what large timbers they haul along for their size, I mean. Now, if a man were as strong per pound as an ant is, he could carry a ton. And of course there are the food crews too, and the ants go out and attack caterpillars and things like that that are a good deal larger than they are themselves. Incidentally, they inject a little formic acid into their victims, and that helps to stupefy them. But when they have them, why, they gang up and carry them off like this, and when they get them to the ant city, each one has his share of the food. They drag in moths and butterflies and caterpillars and grasshoppers, and so in that way they are beneficial to the garden. Oh, there's a storm coming up. Well, the ants knew it before I did. We can see that from the way they're hustling around, and they're going to make preparations to keep their ant city from storm damage. I also noticed that the warriors there are rushing in with some cocoons that they've evidently stolen from a nearby community. You know, ants do that. They kidnap cocoons from other communities and make slaves of those young ants when they emerge. Well, in addition to hiding their stolen goods, the ants here are carrying down the cocoons from the fair weather position up near the entrance to the stormy weather cellars. You notice that they carry those rather large cases very easily, and also pack them away with a great deal of an expert touch. Well, that's because they do it regularly. As soon as the weather changes, they start changing the position of the eggs and the cocoons inside the nest. But they do know now that a storm is coming, and they're hustling down the eggs and also the cocoons so that they will not be bothered by the weather. And when they have all that packed away, they go and bar the city gates. They close the doors up there, and then they say, "Let it rain, let it pour. We clever ants have barred the door."